Welcome. I'm Pam, and I want to talk a little bit today about gaslighting. Not the kind that happens in a romantic relationship. I'll put a link down in the description to Dr. Ramani's channel. She's great with that stuff. This little chat is going to be about gaslighting that happens in families. I've been reading a lot of the comments. I hear everybody. And it got in my head and my heart to have this talk. I've seen a lot of comments about kids no longer talking to their parents, parents losing touch with the kids. And I thought about it for a while, and I think I have at least a little idea what might be going on, or in the very least, let's have a talk about this gaslighting situation. What is it? Gaslighting is when somebody goes to talk to another person and they let them know how they're feeling, what they experienced, what's going on with them. And instead of being heard, acknowledged, maybe apologized to, validated, they get some whack job response like, "Oh, wow, you're really sensitive. You should talk to somebody like that. You on your period?" You get these kind of responses that completely invalidate your experience, what you're feeling, and making you start thinking you're crazy, you're the one with a problem. Oh, maybe I am nuts. No, that is one of the most painful, right down to the soul, to the very core, total evisceration things that a human can experience. I personally have experienced it. I'd rather have physical pain than that kind of pain. But this is what is happening in some families. And when I say kids in this video, that can be any age. I'm 60 years old. I'm somebody's kid. I've had these conversations. Let's talk about why this is going on. Sometimes kids will approach their parents. A lot of times that's who it's with. Something has happened that's caused them a lot of pain and anguish, and they're looking for relief, for validation. So they're going back to their parent, the caretaker, the ones that are supposed to be giving them unconditional love and acceptance and understanding. And when they're seeking that out, it takes a lot of courage and guts and high risk to approach their parent and tell them what's going on and really disclose it, to give them their full belly and be that vulnerable. It's a huge risk. When they take that huge risk and it's met with gaslighting, the damage is unbelievable. It's like a freaking nuclear bomb was detonated right in your very soul, in your core. I've experienced it, and I believe many other people out there have as well. Feel free to share in the comments. I think it helps other people. And your comments are seen, not only by me, but by people all around the world. And we can help each other out here. Now, my take on why this happens in families, it's a little bit different than what we're talking about when people truly have narcissistic personality disorder and you're in a relationship with them. That's a same type of painful gaslighting, but it's coming for different reasons. I think in the family, when you're going to talk to your parent or a loved one, but especially with parents, many of them are not at all emotionally equipped to deal with this kind of confrontation. They are about as mature emotionally as a newborn baby, maybe even less. Let's face it, many parents of my generation and earlier, they didn't start out with this well-planned marriage and planning of when they want to have a family and how they're going to raise their kids. In all honesty, parents in my generation, let's recall historically, birth control pills and other options weren't even a thing. There were people that were basically kids, having kids with no kind of understanding or planning at all. Myself, I made a choice not to continue any generational curses. I thought about it. Many people didn't, not because they were evil or bad. It's life. and they're human beings. I'm not making excuses for it, but it's a historical perspective. I think when parents who have no emotional capacity to fully understand, I shouldn't say they don't have an emotional capacity, they're not well versed, they're trained. You can have an emotional capacity, but it takes work. They haven't put the work in. They maybe don't even understand what to do or how to put the work in. I think many of these parents, when they're confronted by a kid coming and telling them, and when I say kid, like I said, it could be any age, they're always your kid. When they're confronted by a kid telling them, you hurt me, this happened, that happened, I'm upset, I'm hurt, I'm angry. Instead of sitting back, listening, taking in what the kid is telling them, processing it, and validating it, yeah, it happened. I messed up. I'm a human. I'm sorry. I understand why you would feel that way. Instead, they're doing the gaslighting, not because they're narcissists or evil. Now listen, your parents could be, but I hope not. That's a lot rarer than what you think. The parents are going into a defense mechanism over this. They do not know how to handle their kid coming up and telling them they messed up. They cannot handle the guilt, shame, pain of acknowledging what happened. They're completely unable. In many cases, they're filled with terror and fear about what they've done to their own kid, so much so that they can't even acknowledge. And what they come out with is this gaslighting. What are you talking about? Something must be wrong with you. You're too sensitive. Take your medicine. You need a psychiatrist. You better go sit down and calm down, you. I don't know what you're talking about. That's not how it went. I think all of us humans have done some gaslighting in our lives. I think we'd be lying if we hadn't. Even if it's something like we encounter a friend who's really going through some grief, they've lost their spouse or a loved one, and what do we come up with in all our wisdom? Oh, they're probably in a better place. Maybe the deceased one is in a better place, but the one mourning, they're in total hell. But we don't know how to handle it. We don't know how to respond. So much so that a lot of us humans will even walk away from a friend and not call and not check in on them because we don't know what to say. So what do? We just leave them on their own. Or we say something like, oh, they're in a better place. It'll be okay. Just, get over it. That's gaslighting. And it's like I said, it's not because we're evil. We're just not emotionally running on all cylinders at all times. We're emotionally overwhelmed and whacked out ourselves. We screw up. I know there's a lot going on the internet now, kind of trending this, go no contact with your parents, go no contact with your family. Well, for sure, in some instances, you need to draw boundaries and protect yourself. I have a loved one I didn't speak with for a decade, I'd say. I had to protect myself. They wouldn't acknowledge reality. It was to the point of making me not feel well. I backed off. And that worked for quite some time. I'm happy to say that things have turned around, and that's good. Both sides involved in these situations of being gaslit, and the person also who was confronted with how their loved one is feeling and what maybe they've done to them. Both sides, I can tell you right now, the answer is to not bandage up that wound and think it's going to heal. Much like if you cut your finger and it heals over a little bit, next thing you know, it kind of turns into this blister and there's redness around it. You don't go and bandage it up and think it's going to heal and everything's going to be just great. Because guess what? The infection is going to fester. It's going to go down deep into your body until it basically becomes lethal. The same thing can happen with emotions. You try to bandage that stuff up, it's still there, a little emotionally pus-filled thing, creeping down into your soul. It can stay with you the rest of your life. It'll heal to some degree, but there's always a tiny place of hurt. All right, so we talked about this a little bit. What's the answer? What can you do about it? Well, the only thing you can really do, take a break, give it time, set the boundaries. Maybe you can send somebody this video. Maybe it'll help start a conversation or get somebody thinking. And both people are going to have to take a risk, a huge emotional risk. I get the pain associated with the gaslighting part. Now, I've never had any kids come to me and tell me I screwed them up, but I have friends and family out there. It's not like I don't live in this planet with everybody. The parents who may be experiencing this, they're going to need to educate themselves, do some work, do some soul searching, get help if they need to, and they're going to have to acknowledge whatever their child is talking about, whatever truths they have that happened to them, how they feel about it. You need to acknowledge it. And if it's something that you did, you're a human. They're coming to you to talk to you, not because they want to get the hell away from you. If they did, they would just stay away. They're coming to you because they want the emotional freedom, healing, the exhale, the relief. They're looking for that. Give it to them. Acknowledge what it is they're talking about. Do the work. The kids, you're going to have to take a risk. And I know that if it doesn't go well, it's going to be like a stab to the heart, gut punch to the soul, extreme pain that doesn't easily dissipate. I understand. But if you think that it's worth the risk of maybe having a better relationship, getting to a better place with your family member, parent, whatever, take the risk. You can handle it. That's the only way that I know it could get better if you wanted to. Take the risk, have the conversation, feel it out, see how it's going to go. I pray for anybody out there that's got this going on because it's extremely painful. I get it. But if you can get past it, if it can get worked out, it's unbelievable. Just like that festering wound, when it opens up and starts bleeding, you could feel the pressure release. Then it'll get a nice scab, heal over nicely, and everything will be good. All I can say is sometimes I think we have to do emotional bleeding to heal. And I hope that people can find their way. I hope this video helps somebody out there. I've had great success on the channel lately. Thanks to everybody. I'm glad you're all jumping in and participating in the comments. I love it. If I was smarter, I'd probably make a video on a different topic to appeal to the algorithm. But this spoke to my heart, so if it reaches some people out there and helps someone, I really hope so. That will make my whole channel worthwhile. Thank you so much to everyone. All the best. Thank you for being there. I appreciate you all. I want nothing but the best for everybody. This planet and us humans can use a lot more good vibes and love. So let's try to deliver on that and make things a little better. Take care, everyone. I really appreciate you.